Listen, if you come back and you're blind next week, it's not good.
If I'm wearing the Cyclops visor, you guys know what happened.
What up, and welcome to the Rival Fantasy Baseball live stream. I am Neil. He is Brian. What up, Brian?
What's up, Neil? How you doing, man?
Nothing, man. Nothing much. Listen, it was a good week of baseball, but last week we came off of Easter. This week we got a solar eclipse today. I mean, things are just happening in the world.
Yeah, the world is trying to. I think this is part of the reason so many guys are going in for Tommy John. The eclipse is just throwing things all the way off now. So here we are.
Yeah, a lot of people are excited about the solar eclipse. Man, you just reminded me I can't even look at it because I don't got the glasses.
Yeah,
my
can't
kids'
find
school,
them now. They are gone. People have bought them up and are selling them for way more than they're worth.
Really? I didn't even think about it. I mean, my kids' school sent out an email like, we're gonna give glasses to the kids, but remind them don't look directly at the sun. I'm like, man, this is a whole event. I don't even think in Florida it's gonna be like that serious, but like,
yeah,
I mean,
you get a lot of the middle of the country, like your Texas, Oklahoma, like that's kind of the path of totality.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be, it's a weird day. People are traveling for it. People are camping. It's I'd rather stay home and watch some baseball personally, but teach their own.
Listen, I'm tempted to look at that thing without glasses.
I mean, I feel like we've all looked at the sun a little bit, in our lives. I think you can sneak a peek.
Absolutely.
Not a hashtag, not a doctor. Don't come for me because I'm not your optometrist. But
news report comes out tomorrow. A whole bunch of people go blind looking at sun thanks to Brian.
Rival fantasies, Brian. Like, well,
won't be good, man. Won't be good. All right, so listen, man. Baseball is in full swing, if you will, and things are happening. Hitters are hitting, pitchers are pitching, people are getting injured. It's good. Hey, listen, from last week, my Mets are finally winning games.
Yep.
Your Astros, a little better. So things are positive in our world, personally.
Yeah. Not for lack of trying on the Astros part, not for Josh Hader not trying to blow these saves constantly, but that's all right.
It's all right, man. We'll start how we always start with the rivals of the week. Just, players that we want to make sure we mention, we give a little respect to for the week that just passed. Some hitters, some pitchers, just that we feel deserve acknowledgement that probably helped you win last week, whether you're in, fantasy baseball season long, whether you're using them for challenges, bingo, whatever the case may be. These guys likely helped you, get some W's, win some money, whatever the case may be. We'll start with Spencer Steer.
Man.
I mean, might be the guy this week. Last week might have been the guy. Might have been the number one guy.
Yeah, since he has a really good team, they even though they're depleted, they have a lot of injuries. Ronel is going to be on the shelf for a while. Since he has, they are scrappy. They figured it out. And Steer, what do you have? 9 hits, 9 ribbies last week.
Yeah, 3 home runs. It was like a stolen base, some runs.
He did everything. He filled the stat sheet, and I mean, you cannot ask for a better week out of a fantasy baseball player. So, just keep your eye on what Cincy is doing, how they're reorganizing their lineup. We talked about Will Benson a little bit last week.
Yeah.
There's going to be some fluctuation there, but Steer is definitely a mainstay in that lineup now.
I feel like, sometimes I try to get names in there that aren't as common, that aren't the obvious, because we can pull obvious names in here a lot of times, but I like to get some of the different names who maybe won't appear in it all season long, all the time. But, definitely had a good week. Another guy, Suzuki, a guy me and you both like. So we both already liked him.
Yes.
We're both big favorites of him. I feel like we always fight for him in drafts and stuff. But big week, another big week, 7 hits, 2 home runs, lots of RBIs, 10 of them. So, I mean,
we're getting double-digit RBIs in a week. That's impressive, man. He's, we talked about it on our opening day live stream. I think the Cubs are just like a sneaky good team. I think the NL Central is top down, probably the best division in baseball, especially now that the Pirates are playing well. But yeah, Suzuki, people kind of wondered if it was a flash in the pan. Second half last year, he started figuring things back out, and it looks like it's carrying over. So I think he has adjusted to the MLB, and I think he is, here to stay. I think he's, definitely somebody you can rely on as one of your mainstay outfielders in DFS.
No, I agree for sure. And then the last one that I want to mention for hitters is Garcia, Adolis Garcia. I know you hate him. I know you're not a fan. He's a Astro killer.
Yeah, but I mean, love him or hate him, that dude just absolutely mashes baseball.
He does, man. He does.
Yeah, there's now some rumors, some concern, some
I seen
curiosity
those.
about the
I seen those.
is he juicing? Which, like, baseball wasn't not fun when guys were juicing, so maybe we stop worrying about that so much. But yeah, no, he had 2 home runs this week. He clobbered one against the Astros on Saturday, I believe. 7 RBIs, another 5. He scored 5 runs himself. So
Yeah.
he's doing it all. He's not stealing a lot of bases, and that's been
No.
kind of a thing he fell off last year, and so it kind of looks like that's going to continue. But when you have that much bulk on you, it's hard to steal a base because the man is just his muscles have muscles. So
Yeah, I did see like, posts on Twitter and stuff, and people posting pictures like from different angles of how, he looks much bigger in this picture. And I'm like, come on, man, like you guys might be reaching here, but
he's just a beast. So
Yeah.
there's don't take it from him. He's always raked.
Yeah.
So he's doing it more consistently. And
he's one of those guys. Yeah, he's one of those guys when you watch the home run highlights, he's just smacking them, man. Like,
because he doesn't hit like barely clearing ones. Like those
Right.
things are well over the fence every time.
Yeah.
And the sound off the bat is magnificent. That
Absolutely.
It's
So
something to behold.
He's a guy we might see on this list more often throughout the year. We'll see.
Probably.
All right, let's move over to pitchers. Tanner Houck, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Boston.
He's
2 wins. 2 wins this last week?
2 wins in 1 week, man. And he's gonna be on our our 2-start pitchers this week, I believe. Or no, he's on our waiver wire pitchers this week. So that'll be coming out soon. But no, he's very, very good at what he's doing. The Red Sox have been surprisingly good on the pitching side. Their starting rotation has looked really, really great. You have Cutter Crawford, you've got Bello. So let's give Tanner Houck the respect he deserves. But yeah, keep your eye on him, especially as the weeks come where he's got 2 starts. He is certainly worthy of like an SP3 position on your teams.
Yeah. And he's getting support, guys like Tyler O'Neill and stuff hitting well. Like it's helping out. You know what I mean? Helping these guys stay above water. So yeah, it's a good thing. We have another pitcher with 2 wins last week. Another one. And is your boys, your team?
Yeah.
Blanco.
Ronel Blanco, man. He threw a no-no for his first win. It was his 8th career start as an MLB pitcher. So he's been kind of bounced between bullpen starting, bounced between minors and majors, right? So I think if he's not 30 already, he's going to be 30 this year. So really good, nice feel-good story. And he looked great last night against the Rangers. He took a no-hitter into the 6th inning again. Yeah. So it was like 14 2/3 consecutive innings of no-hit ball, which is very impressive. So
I will ask you, obviously it's your favorite team. You want it to, but like, I'm not saying the 0 ERA and all that kind of stuff, but like, do you think his success will continue, or do you think this is just some momentarily, flash?
He could be a flash. I'm cautiously optimistic, but the Astros do have a very good history of kind of finding these diamonds in the rough. Christian Javier, great example, right? Like, was not a guy anyone really expected to become ace adjacent. And when he's on, he's really on, right? So you're going to have your good days and your bad days. People are going to start figuring him out, I would assume, pretty quickly. But, ride the hot hand. He proved he did it against the Rangers. So like, that's a good team to do it against.
Right.
So, I like him. And I think especially he's going to be the back of the rotation guy. He's going to probably get a lot of 2-start weeks. So I like him as a DFS and a bingo guy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. He's fun there for sure. The last one, I want you to say the last one, just so I'm not being a homer. I want to see if you only utter these words if you believe it.
Sean Manaea, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Manaea of the New York Mets is on our Rivals of the Week. Sub 1 point ERA, 14 strikeouts last week in his 1 start. Look, the Mets need some help. And I said last week, I didn't know if I bought into the Sean Manaea hype.
Yep.
I'm wrong so far, and I'm happy to be wrong. It's good to watch these guys like kind of bounce back. Manaea was one of those highly touted prospects when he came up with Oakland. Shockingly, Oakland squandered him. I I don't think anybody is surprised by that.
Surprise,
But
surprise.
no, he looks great, and the Mets need somebody they can rely on. So if Manaea can stay healthy and he can stay on the mound, looks like a really good cheap signing for the Mets that I think is going to pay off for them.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hopefully it does. Hopefully, obviously, I agree, but hopefully it stays true. So those are our rivals of the week, man. Steer, Suzuki, Garcia, Houck, Blanco, Manaea. Shout out to all those people, man. Shout out to them, crushing it last week. Again, I mean, I always encourage, also when the listeners are watching, if they have players that they feel belong there and we didn't say them, or that we, mentioned them but they didn't belong there, they can always counter argue us, man. I would love to hear.
Let us know. Look, we are two guys. We cannot watch every single game.
No.
We're doing our best to watch them, but we also have basketball going on. We're going into the end of the regular season there, so a lot of sports to stay on top of right now.
Yeah.
It's a great time of year, but it is there's a lot of news and a lot of stats to sort through.
Exactly. All right, cool. Let's jump over to news and injuries, which basically is a bunch of injuries at this point right now.
Injuries.
Yeah, it's we're getting crushed with injuries right now. Some big names, some guys that people were really dependent on going into the season to start hot. I know I liked a lot of these guys. You liked a lot of these guys, but here we are. We'll start with probably the biggest one. Well, second, I don't know how big you want to call it. Maybe second or third in the list here, but Bieber surgery incoming.
It was announced Saturday morning, had elbow discomfort his last start. And he had two very impressive starts.
Yeah, I was going to say, we talked about him last week. We were like, wow, great start. We're so happy to see this. And then I was like, hey, listen, as long as the injuries don't happen, we're good. This is great.
And I would have said, if he had kept this up through 5 starts, comeback player of the year argument, right? And now he's down, torn UCL, having Tommy John. That was confirmed Saturday morning. So big blow to not only the Guardians as a whole. I mean, I think that team is they have some pretty good talent, but that's a blow. That guy is an anchor for your staff.
Yeah.
So, and it sucks. You hate seeing these guys who are aces and studs, and then they suffer these injuries that, I'm not going to say they're preventable, but it seems like they are becoming more prevalent in recent years.
Right. So. Yeah, for sure. So that was a tough one to see, especially like I said, for us, as we just talked them up last week. But so we had a feel good story going here. It got taken away from us. Spencer Strider, Tommy John.
Yeah, we go for, Garrett Cole was arguably the first pitcher off the board once he went down with the elbow, which, he's not having Tommy John supposedly, but then Strider kind of became SP1, kind of definitively, and 2 starts in, he's most likely headed for Tommy John as well. So there's arguments that it's the pitch clock. There's arguments that it's the focus on throwing 100 miles an hour more consistently. There's the argument that guys are throwing too much junk too early in their careers. You can make a bunch of different cases for why this is happening, but the fact of the matter is, it's kind of like when you play fantasy football and it used to be running backs first. Fantasy baseball, it used to be pitchers were at the top. I think now we're kind of seeing a changing of the guard where you can punt pitching, you can wait because there's so much volatility and there's so much uncertainty with the injuries now.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially I feel like in best ball lately, these last, I do the weekly ones. Yeah. And I feel like I started pushing pitchers back a little bit. I'm like, trying it out to see if it's going to work out for me or not. But I'm like, I used to try to get one early, and then, then I started getting 2 early, and then I'm like, let me push them back again. So I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to, make sense of it. And again, it also depends on who you're drafting, when people are, attacking it differently, and then it kind of, forces you a little bit. But yeah, this is a bummer, man.
Yeah, it's a blow. And, the Braves they're very good at bouncing back and filling those holes that pop up. They have a lot of talent. They did it when Max Fried went down. They'll figure it out. But when you lose the best pitcher in baseball, active pitcher, it's tough to see. So the Braves will be fine, but this does also raise questions about what does the NL East look like now? Are the Phillies kind of in a better position to maybe win the division instead of getting a wild card? We'll see. But it's a lot of storylines that are going to come out of the Strider issue.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, those are 2 pitchers. We also have an infielder, Trevor Story.
Man,
dislocated shoulder.
Yeah, he can't catch a break. He had basically Tommy John for fielders. That's why he missed most of last season. He had the same procedure that Bryce Harper did, which was putting a brace in his elbow essentially so he could throw again. And then it was a diving play against the Angels, I believe, last week. That Story, just landed really hard on his shoulder, was removed from the game, and now it's dislocated. So he's on the 10-day IL. Don't really know how long he's going to be out for, but now, I mean, nobody was really relying on him for fantasy, but you just have to really wonder, is Story washed? Is he injury prone now? Is it just, bad luck several years in a row? Regardless, though, it's tough, but now's the time to just pay attention what are the Red Sox going to do to fill that shortstop hole, because it's arguably the most important position on the field. So they got to plug a very important piece.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. And then another tough one. This one, a younger guy though, Josh Jung. He got injured. I just wanted to say he said this. He said, "This is such BS. All the training and sacrifice just flew out the window at one pitch. A pitch I've seen a million times. The frustration is unbearable. The anger is rage. The words are few and far between."
Yeah. And this is a guy who, I think he was a first-round pick out of Texas Tech. The Rangers, he blasted through the Rangers system. Like he's, I'd argue, a top 10 third baseman in the league when he's healthy. I mean, the swing is unreal. He's amazing at the plate. But he keeps having bad luck with injuries. And I don't consider him injury prone. Like getting hit by a pitch and breaking your wrist is not something that you can control, right? He tried to get out of the way. It was, when a 90 plus mile an hour fastball is flying towards your face, you can only do so much to get out of the way. So the Rangers are going to plug the hole too. You have Ezekiel Duran most likely being the guy, the biggest beneficiary. Don't really know what they're going to do at third base. So something to monitor, but that Rangers lineup is really good, but it does get worse now if Josh Jung is not involved. So assume probably 6 weeks. I would guess he'll be back probably mid-June if I was a betting man.
Yeah, and like I said, the reason why I'm saying the things that he's saying is just because like when we talk about fantasy and like we talk about the injuries, we take away like the human aspect. We kind of talk about guys like their numbers and stuff like that, but I just think it's interesting. Like again, more so that he said why did this happen to me again? It makes no sense. I'm supposed to come back from my 4th surgery in 4 years. Like you said, like this is one of the better young players in the game. I mean, he was voted an all-star right as a rookie, I believe it was
second year.
Yes. So it's like you have all this potential, everyone, all this promise, everyone, you're putting it on the field, you're producing, and then these injuries, like it just sucks when it happens to players, man. Like I hate seeing it. You know what I mean? Obviously he's saying positive though. Like I mean, he's already done it so many times. Why would it not happen this time? But it just sucks to see it keep happening and slowing you down. You know what I mean?
And thankfully he's young enough. I think he's still 25. So he's still got plenty of time ahead of him in his career. And the Rangers are going to be patient with him because they know he's a very important piece of their future. So they're, this isn't going to be like we're moving off of Josh Jung because he's been hurt too many times. I don't see that happening, and he's resilient. The quote kind of, he has every right to be upset, but he'll bounce back.
I totally agree. I think that's it for the injuries. At least obviously we could go on and on and find all the little ones that are out there, but these are the major ones that we want to, headline. I'm gonna put a poll up there. Will Josh Jung overcome all the injuries? We'll see what people. We'll see the vibe people are thinking out there. All right. So with injuries, Brian, comes waivers. It comes the waivers that you have to maneuver through these things and make the moves. So let's get into the waiver wire.
Love it.
All right. Let's start with hitters, as we always do. One day we'll switch it up and give respect to the pitchers. Let's start with the hitters. We'll start with Michael Conforto. We actually talked about him last week. Was he a rival of the week last week, or was
he was both? He was rival of the week. He was on the waiver wire watch, and he's there again. He's just mashing right now. He went a little cold Saturday and Sunday, but he still got on base. He's still drawing walks. He's hitting doubles. He's just absolutely blasting the ball, and that Giants lineup again, top down is pretty good. So if the odds of him avoiding the IL this year, I don't love it. I would still put it like less than 50% odds that he doesn't get hurt at some point. But ride the train while it's active. Conforto, he's probably going to be a mainstay in my bingo lineups this week. I'm taking him in a lot of best ball drafts. So yeah, the Giants, again, they look good. They always put out a competitive team. So if Conforto's a part of that and the Giants are playing well, there's no reason to not have him on your squad.
Yeah. And like you said, like, the likelihood of him getting injured, and we're not trying to be negative about it. It happens, right? It's like a guy who's been in that space a lot. So obviously take advantage of it while you can. And again, this goes back to, I like to recall, for those who are playing challenges, playing bingo, playing best ball daily instead of, season long baseball, you can take advantage of guys like this and use them up. You know what I mean? Like really get the work out of them. So that way I feel like I don't feel as burned as I do in season long. Where I'm like, okay, well, I got to use him a bunch. I won a bunch with him during the time he was healthy. You know what I mean? So like, you don't feel as negative about the guy after the fact. So
exactly,
you feel less burned. All right. Taylor Ward.
He is back. So last year he took a pitch to the face from Alex Manaea and he shattered his jaw, I think. And so he missed a bit of time. He didn't look very comfortable at the plate when he came back, which, understandable. I'd be gun shy too. That's tough to bounce back from, but he's been kind of the bright spot in the Angels lineup lately. He's hit 6 hits his last 5 games. He had 3 home runs in the first 6 games. So he's been really, really good. This is the guy that we all thought Taylor Ward was. And I think he just was kind of left for dead proverbially because of, the Ohtani news overshadowed it. Trout's injuries always overshadow it. So, but no, Taylor Ward is just a really good guy to keep your eye on. I would take him in a ton of challenges. Right now I would probably take Taylor Ward over most outfielders, for fantasy point purposes.
Yeah, I mean, sign me up for the guy that got hit in the freaking face with a baseball and has come back confident, man.
Got that dog in him. That dog is back.
Yeah, so. You get hit in the face with a baseball,
bruh.
Nah, man, that's something else right there. So yeah, I like to see a guy get his confidence back. I have faith in that guy at that point. You know what I mean? So shout out to Ward, man. It's been
gutsy. It's been gutsy to watch, and it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool to have something to root for the Angels because it's those fans deserve something better.
Yeah, they are like a cursed team at this moment.
Yeah.
All right. Jose Siri, a speedster, is on our waiver wire list, man.
Yeah, he's gonna strike out a lot. Okay, if you guys have watched him play, you know that he's a demon on the base path. He's a very good outfielder. Dude loves to swing at the ball. Mm-hmm. So just no going in. You're playing him as a high upside sort of like outfield 3 option or a utility spot in daily. But he had 3 stolen bases last week, and the Rays have given him the starting job. Like he is the starting outfielder for the Rays. Again, pretty good lineup. He doesn't have to be the guy there. But he even said at the start of the season, or during spring training rather, that he wants to steal 30 bases. So any guy who comes out and says that and then he steals 3 bases, to start the season, I like the approach. So you're going for him as far as points on the base paths. That's where you're going to get scores from him.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, man. I love the guys, the speedsters who are stealing bases, that special category of player who are just exciting, man. Like, I don't know, like I always try to, relate things because fantasy football is my main jam. And like, how do you look at those kind of guys? Like, are you looking at them as like pass catchers out of the backfield or like a home run threat wide receiver? Like, they're just exciting. Like, they're not always going to be consistent, or they may bust in a lot of games. But then there's just certain games where like, that's exciting stuff right there, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how I relate them.
It feels very much like those lottery ticket wide receivers, those like vertical threats in fantasy football who, when they hit a home run, they hit a home run.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then it's, it's a bad week. But these are the high upside kind of guys that in baseball, you have specialties, right? He's not a 5-tool guy. He's not going to get you high home runs. He's not going to get a ton of RBIs, but he's going to get on base. He's going to walk, or he won't walk because he strikes out too much, but he'll get on base and he'll get you steals, and he's fast enough to leg out like doubles that would normally be singles for some other people. So high upside guy, high risk, high reward, which makes him very good for bingo as well. He's a very good bingo play.
Yeah. Those are the kind of players when you see like 3 stolen bases, how can I get this? Or 2 stolen bases in a game? Who's going to do this? This is your guy.
Series on that list. Yeah.
Yep. He is on your list. He also turns on Siri on my phone when I say his name. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
can't
it's
say his
a
name too much on
blessing and
the
a
show.
curse.
All right, the last guy, Coby Mayo, a guy who honestly, I mean, can the team make room for him? I mean, that's where we're at, right?
Yeah, so I just wanted to throw a little stash in there for those who play season long. So Coby Mayo is a third baseman in the Orioles organization. He's been striking out a lot in the minors, but he has, I think, 6 extra base hits already. He's just crushing doubles. So he's not going to beat Jackson Holiday up. We all know Holiday is going to come up the day that he is, yeah, as soon as that service time kicks in. But yeah, Coby Mayo, I would stash him. I don't think Ramon Urias or Jordan Westberg have done enough to keep the job. If Coby Mayo keeps hitting the ball the way he is. So I wouldn't be shocked if by June, July, the Orioles infield is Mayo, Holiday, Henderson, and probably Mountcastle sticking it first.
That's a fun team going on, man.
And you know, you now wonder, like, do they have too much talent? And I know that sounds ridiculous to say, but there are so many log jams on this team now. Are they going to go use somebody like Keston Hirschchad to go get another pitcher at the deadline? Are they going to move like Coby Mayo? Or are they going to move some of these older vets to go get like relievers, right? You could trade Ramon Urias to a team like, I don't know, the Marlins. They're already talking about how the Marlins might be sellers. Maybe there's somebody there. So a lot of interesting dynamics are coming out of the Orioles organization, and something to keep an eye on because they have so much young talent that we really don't know how they're all going to get to play anytime soon.
A gift and a curse.
Yeah.
Not many teams get to say that. So that's fun.
Good problem to have. Good problem.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move over to the pitchers. We got a few names here. Some we've talked about already.
We have.
So let's get, Jared Jones, again, a guy we talked about last week as well. It's good when we talk about guys multiple weeks because it's letting you know it's consistent. It's not just a flash. We're seeing some consistency here. Jared Jones, what makes you feel like he's a waiver wire target this week?
So the Pirates have, I'm not going to say the organization has turned a new leaf, but they are off to a very hot start. And when you have a young guy like Jones that can come in, who wasn't really on the radar because, you had Paul Skeens and everybody's like talking about him coming up. He didn't get called up, right? So the fact that Jared Jones broke camp was kind of surprising. He had 6 or 7 Ks in 6 innings against the Orioles, right? So the Orioles, we just talked about it. One of the best teams in baseball. That lineup is top down, very impressive. He gave up 2 earned runs, and so we got the loss. But I mean, that's one of those tough luck losses that you look at it on paper and you see the L, but you actually watch the game, you watch him pitch, you look at the underlying stats. He's good. He is extremely good at baseball, and like the 1-2 punch that Paul Skeens and Jared Jones are going to be for Pittsburgh, if this sticks, could be very scary for a long time. So I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah, there's certain losses that when you see a pitcher get it bums you out. That was kind of one of those losses where it's like, man, he deserved not to get that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It happens a lot, man. Like a pitcher will be phenomenal, and then just the team just can't score a run behind him to get the win, and it sucks.
Yeah.
All right, Tanner. We talked about him earlier. He's here on the waivers. You mentioned that he would be here. Again, I mean, it's hard to ignore.
It is hard to ignore. It's been nice to see the Red Sox have something going for them. And again, like you have Garrett Whitlock, you have Cutter Crawford, you have Brian Balo, right? You have a bunch of guys in the Red Sox organization that have been talked about, that have been seen as the waiver wire guys or guys that you want to target to be your pitchers in DFS. And it feels like Tanner Houck has just kind of gotten lost in the sauce. And we've had some track record of like, as soon as we have confidence in him, he burns us, right?
Right.
That's how it's been in fantasy for a couple years. But he looks pretty good and pretty consistent so far. So I like him, and I think he's going to be one of those like mid to back rotation guys that the odds of him getting a 2-start week for you, he's going to have quite a few of those this year. So like him in weekly, they play in, I don't know if we would call the AL East competitive right now. Like it's such a strange division to watch, but they have a lot of rivalries, and those games get very intense. So
And they're fun.
they're fun to watch. So you have a guy that at the very least is playing in high stakes games that people care about. So I think Tanner Houck is just a really, he's understated, but I think we need to appreciate him a little bit more for what he is.
Absolutely, man. You know the saying.
Men lie, women lie. Numbers don't lie.
It's facts.
Facts is facts.
The numbers don't lie, man. All right, last name, James MacArthur.
Look.
Royals.
Okay,
Royals pitcher. Royals pitcher.
Saves and the Royals don't technically get mentioned in the same sentence very often. But it looks like, the Royals tried the Will Smith experiment, the older left-handed relief pitcher, Will Smith. And he just doesn't look good anymore. Like, no disrespect, I just don't think he's got what it takes to be a closer in the league anymore. He's
no disrespect, but disrespect.
Yeah, like for fantasy purposes, I disrespect him, but as a pitcher, he's been great. He's there's a reason he's been in the league as long as he has.
Yeah.
But this could turn into a committee situation, but I think MacArthur looks the best. It looks like they have the most trust in him, so he'll probably get the bulk of the saves, / the high leverage situations. So, if you're going for like a relief pitcher situation where you get 3 or 4 appearances a week out of the guy, MacArthur is definitely somebody, in your weekly drafts that I think you can target at the very end. He's your last pick. He's your pitcher 3. And you can go with him. But yeah, it's, something to keep your eye on, because if you play in categories leagues at all, there's often a category you punt. I tend to punt saves. This is why, right? Like, we get into the first couple weeks of the season and you bullpens shuffle immediately.
You find these deep league guys that are just
exactly. So we did it with Uribe last week for the Brewers. He blew a save, but he got a win. So that was a positive. The Tigers closer situation is kind of up in the air right now, and now we have Kansas City. So you take the good with the bad. You understand that Kansas City is not necessarily a top half team, so the save opportunities might not be there, but for your bingo purposes, for your challenge purposes, definitely a guy that I think is worth a look. And in your traditional leagues, he's worth the waiver claim.
Definitely worth it, man. All right, so that's it for waivers. We covered hitters, pitchers. We've done the injuries. We've done the rivals of the week. We're down to rival. We have our challenges. We have bingo. We have best ball. This is what we have left, sir. So let's go ahead and jump into our rival games.
All right, let's do this.
Right, let's do challenges. Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up on the screen for the people. Let's pop it up on here. All right, cool. Let's see. We're going to do challenges first. Now, I know you had some suggested ones that you think will be interesting.
I do,
so
yeah.
Let me bring it up here. All right.
So just so everyone knows, while you're bringing it up, when we're doing our live streams, I'm going to pick challenges for today. I'll probably try to do some for later in the week if we can get articles out and the like. But when we talk about them on the live stream, these are challenges for today in particular. So you can go and make them and get them out into the world immediately.
Right, absolutely. And we will also post some of these out there for you guys to play along with us as well. We'll also be doing a best ball draft here at some point today. And of course, bingo. So anything that we could share in the chat when you guys are watching live, that's the benefit of watching live, right? Like, you can participate with us on the challenges, on the drafts, on that kind of stuff. If you're not watching live and you're either just watching it after the fact, we will post up stuff throughout the week. So definitely follow on social media at Rival Fantasy for all the different platforms. And also, if you're just listening on audio, like, that's another way to just, again, follow the socials. You'll get the stuff there. But highly suggest you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. This way you guys can either watch us live or watch the replay, because again, even in the replay, some of those challenges may still be available depending on when you guys actually catch them. So subscribe to the YouTube, follow on social. That way you don't miss the interactions that you can with us, because it's a lot more fun when, you guys are in the chat or playing with us. Just that way, we know who we're playing with instead of just, random users, Brian. It takes, it's a little more fun that way.
A little more fun, a little more competitive edge to it.
Exactly. All right. So, and again, you could also add me and Brian on the platform itself at Clock Dodgers for me. Yours is BK Oldham.
BK Oldham. Yep.
Okay. All right, cool. So the first one that you mentioned here, go ahead. Let me know. We'll actually, it's this gentleman right here, Luzardo.
So yeah, it is Jesus Luzardo. So I'm doing my first two are going to be same game challenges, but first one is Jesus Luzardo versus Nestor Cortes.
Okay.
I think.
And why?
So Again, you know me, I do love lefty on lefty matchups. And, this is an interesting game because Miami's been struggling a little bit. Like I said, there's already rumors and rumblings of them being sellers at the deadline. They canceled Skip Schumacher's options, like his manager options, I think, for next year. So, like, he's already on the hot seat, even though we're not even 10 games into this,
Right.
or we're just about 10 games in. So Miami needs something, and love them or hate them, beating the Yankees is something. Whether they're good or bad, people get excited when you play competitively against the New York Yankees. Okay, it's the name recognition. And then on the other side, Cortes, he has to be the ace right now. He needs to be like the de facto one. There's a reason he was the opening day starter for the Yankees, and so he needs to have a good game today, I think, to kind of show he's over the shoulder injury from last year, that he can go deep into a game. So again, lefty on lefty, you don't get these as often as I would like. So it's a good matchup, I think.
All right, cool. So we'll take which side for your sake?
I think I'm going to take the Luzardo side. I
so
like it. And I'm only picking that. The tiebreaker for me is, I believe this game is in Miami. So just kidding. It's in New York. So I still like Luzardo to go in and kind of, let's see what he can do on the road. Let's see if Miami can go up to the Bronx and perform. But I like Luzardo more just peripheral than Cortes today.
All right, cool. So we'll put this one out there. We'll put how much you feeling on it. How much you feeling? How confident you feeling?
I feel like a 25 is good. I feel 25.
You feel like a guy who got a baseball to the face, and now you're back at it, and
now
you're not afraid.
Yeah. Hey, scared money don't make money.
Exactly.
You gotta get out there.
And what we'll do is we will share this. So again, if you're watching live, we're sharing it in the chat. If you're not watching live, this may still be out there. It will be on social. If you click the link, I can't promise whether it's all taken or if it's not. So definitely try. But I'm gonna go ahead and drop it in the chat for you guys to play along. If you got the confidence in it. All right, so that one's live. Let's do another one.
Great.
We'll create another one.
So another same game one for me is Adolis Garcia versus Yordan Alvarez.
Ooh.
So these are.
See him here though. Why is he not showing up for me?
That's not good. I thought they were playing today. Maybe they play tomorrow. No, they play tonight. But if it doesn't show, it doesn't show. But just something to keep your eye on with. And we could do Marcus Semien versus Yordan Alvarez as well.
There he is. I found.
There he is.
All right.
And then Yordan, two big power hitters. Two guys who were responsible for all of the runs scored last night in the game. These guys are both studs, but I'm going to take Yordan here.
Of course you are.
I'm going to take Yordan because I'm a homer. But also I think Yordan is still arguably the best pure hitter in Major League Baseball. So that's my dude, and I'm going to take him to outscore Garcia tonight.
There you go. I'm going to drop that one again in the chat. If you're watching live, you can take part in this, and you don't have to take the whole 25. So like when we do $25 ones, you could do 5, 10, whatever you want to do. But it's out there. So that's out there. And then you had one more I know that you wanted to do. So we'll put that one up here next.
This one is former teammates, not a same game, but they both played late tonight. So Yu Darvish versus Blake Snell. You got Yu Darvish having the Cubs are coming into San Diego, and the Nats are coming in to San Fran. So I'm going to take Blake Snell on this one, but barely. I think Snell does outscore Darvish, but you also have like the revenge narrative for Darvish. He was a Cub, not anymore, right? So there's a lot of storylines that you can kind of pick with these two. But yeah, I like Snell just because the Nats are kind of poopy. The Nats are tough it's tough to see after they won a championship so recently.
Absolutely. And that one is also going in the chat. And again, we'll post these on social after the stream. Can't do too many things at one time, but we will definitely get those out there to you guys if you're not watching live. Also, if you guys don't want to create your own, you also just want to see if there's any action going on, you could just skip through the generated challenges to see if there are any available. You see stuff like this. if somebody knows me from last week, I said I'm a Triston McKenzie fan. I'm like, oh, I might want to take this. So like stuff like this, if you want to support a local player, you might put $5 on them. Oh, look at him over Reese Olson. What is going on here?
That's an interesting matchup. I think Reese Olson, he gets so disrespected, man. Like, just put that dude is an innings eater, and he's been a really important piece for that Tigers rotation. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's a tough one. I would still probably take the McKenzie side purely because they're playing the White Sox, and the White Sox.
Yeah, I was just gonna say to you, like, what do you think the logic is here? If Olson, is it the matchups? Is it people still relying on McKenzie's hype? Because I know he didn't win this. He lost last week too. But I mean, again, it's a matchup probably if someone's betting on here.
That's exactly it.
I always try to think of the vantage point that somebody's coming from when they put these out there. So. Again, so when you see the dollar amounts under the play, I mean, somebody's placed this as an active play. So This one is out there actively. And again, if there's nothing on there, you could be the one to start it. It's just up to you. Or if you're just looking for ones that are already out there, damn, Charlie Morton. Morton's playing against the Mets this week.
See, this is when I'm like going to smash Triston McKenzie.
Really?
Yes. That's a smash for me.
Wow.
And I also think too, again, we're getting narrative-y, but McKenzie now is kind of the de facto ace for the Guardians. Ace in quotes, but he's got to perform now. So the pressure's on. Whether he performs under the pressure or not remains to be seen. But I think he's going to do well. And the White Sox have no one on the roster now. Luis Robert and oh my gosh. Yeah, the name escapes me. Eloy Jimenez. Both are hurt. Like those are their two best players, and they're both hurt. So, yeah, I'm gonna take the guy who's pitching against the. And there you go. See, so
you took it. The Mets are throwing out a new player this week, man. Today.
Who's pitching today? Oh, Julio Tehran. Okay.
Yeah, Tehran. Yeah, there we go.
I forgot.
Yeah, so I don't know how he's gonna do.
We're gonna find out. Yeah, we're gonna
already throw in pitchers who were signed a week ago out there. So.
But I see what I mean. Like the White Sox are putting Tanner Banks out there, man. Like I'm not trying to be mean to the White Sox. I'm like, I don't know what they're doing. They were so hyped for so long.
that's how we feel.
That's how it feels. You watch these guys who were supposed to be just amazing. Like that team was always hyped to be a perennial contender, and the wheels just fell off. So it's quite.
And Robert's hurt right now too, right? Luis Roberts.
Yeah, Luis Robert's hurt. And then Jimenez is also out. So yeah, there's not much going on the south side.
It's bleak out there. It's bleak.
It is. So.
All right. So should we jump over to bingo or should we check out a couple more challenges?
I think we could jump over to bingo.
Let's do that. Let's create a bingo lineup. Pool's at almost $100 already.
Dude, that means people are winning, guys. Because last week that pool got up to like 150, almost $200. So people are winning.
Yeah, people are definitely winning. I had people messaging me that they won, and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, people are definitely winning. And it's back up to 100 already. So that means we have a chance to win some money, and we're gonna do just that. All right. Now the question always is, when we're on the show, Brian, do we go with the players we've been talking about? Do we not? Do we go a different way just to do it for the sake of going a different way? I mean, what should we do here, man?
See, I like to do a little mix and match. So we've talked about some of these guys. There are some guys that I think are worth the pick, even though we haven't talked about them. So like, for example, I think that you could throw Julio Tehran in there. I really do. Because we also remember when we're playing bingo, you might pull some negative achievements, if maybe like greater than 3 earned runs.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Tehran's going to get blown up, but I'm also not saying he's going to throw a no-no tonight. So,
right.
I like him. Spencer Turnbull, right? They're playing against the Cardinals. The Cardinals have not looked great so far. And, Turnbull's there on a 1-year deal, so he's got to perform pretty well.
Got to prove something.
And then I think this is where we could talk about, your Blake Snells, your Yu Darvishes, your Nestor Cortes, maybe kind of hedge the bet. We took Luzardo in the challenge, so maybe we put Nestor in the lineup so that way we're kind of getting action on both sides.
So many different ways to approach it.
So that's the nice thing about our games is they all kind of lend themselves to, you did something in challenges, you do the opposite in bingo, vice versa.
Right.
Like,
or you could just double down.
or you double down and you go all in on the same
All in
thing,
on everything.
which
I mean,
I have done that more than I could.
yeah.
So, I think you can't really go wrong with Darvish or Snell here. Curious, what do you think, Neil? Like, who calls to you?
No, I like Snell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Snell's a fun one here. So we'll go with Snell. All right, we need some infielders. We haven't talked a lot about infielders today.
No, it's been a very outfield heavy week. Outside of third base being very thin now because Royce Lewis, Josh Jung, both on the shelf. So, no, I think I think let's take Carlos Correa, the Dodger killer.
Okay.
Dodgers are playing the Twins tonight, so I think Carlos Correa is a nice addition. And then assuming he plays tonight, which he should, because he took the day off yesterday. Josh Naylor is another one of my favorite picks, kind of all the time.
I know. You're a big fan.
Just like, he's just got that swing. He's got one of those sweet swings. So.
And he's facing Chicago. And it's important to remember, if you didn't come in here with a game plan necessarily, there's the player card. Yep. So if you want to look at the recent news, the performance of the players, whatever the case may be, you got all that information there to make it, a little easier for you. But again, we got Correa, Naylor. Now we need some outfielders.
Yep. So outfield, again, super deep, right? You have your pick of the litter here. I think this is where we maybe go Taylor Ward tonight. I think I like putting Taylor Ward in the lineup. And again, I know, right, the last couple games, 2 points, 3 points, like I get it, but I like what he's doing, and playing against the Rays, those always end up being slugfests. So.
Yeah, and you don't want to get caught up in paying too much attention to like a guy having little points a couple games in a row. You know what I mean? Sometimes that'll lull you, man. Like it'll make you think, oh, he's not going to play well. He hasn't been playing well, and then all of a sudden he hits 20 points the next day. It's like, don't get too caught up in that. I mean, you know who the guy is. You look at the matchup. You know what he's capable of. Don't get too caught up in a couple down games. I mean,
great example of this in one of my season-long leagues. I benched Bryce Harper last week. You know what he did the day I benched him, guys? You know what he did the day I benched him? He hit 3 home runs.
3.
Okay, so just
one grand slam.
So he had I think he had 7 RBIs in one game. Okay, and it was a weekly match, so it's fine. I still won, but
right. Just
don't overreact, but also don't chase points, right? Like don't just because a guy had a great game on Sunday or whatever doesn't mean he's going to do that today. So don't chase points and don't overcorrect either.
Exactly.
So I think Seiya Suzuki's a nice one here.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Suzuki's and I also think Spencer Steer is a good one too. So
we get those Steer in the utility. That's the
I think
beauty
Steer
of this.
as a utility is nice.
Let me type Spencer. See if that helps. Okay. Blow this up.
There's just so many people playing bingo right now.
Yeah.
So, and then my kind of. I think he's been left for dead, and we're still not talking about him enough. Rhys Hoskins is off to a very nice start. I kind of like having 2 guys on different sides of the same game in our utility, right? So that Milwaukee-Cincinnati game, I think, is actually going to be it's going to be a good series. So, yeah, but Rhys Hoskins has been really great first base option. And if you're playing in season-long leagues and he's still there, for some reason, if people left him for dead on the wire, go grab him. But I think he's definitely in contention for me for comeback player of the year. I think he's already been a villain. I know, Neil, you're probably not a big fan of him with the Jeff McNeil thing. But Hoskins plays hard and he's just gritty. And I think he's got something to prove now.
That's why I disrespected him by spelling his name the correct way.
Well, hey, that's on his parents. Don't blame him. Okay. That's on Mr. and Mrs. Hoskins.
Want to, slide dirty at players. It's all right.
Well, it's very reminiscent of Chase Utley, and we all know. I mean, I won't get started on that.
So we'll submit this roster. Now, again, $1 a card. You can do this however you want. You could do 10 separate, different kind of player cards. You could do 10 of the same card. Depends on how you want to approach it. You could do both. Like whatever you feel like doing. I always like to just do 5 for our card here on the show. But again, you can approach it however you want. I mean, and again, I have fun with these things, right? Like the Mets are playing the Braves this week. I love that rivalry. So sometimes I'll throw a bunch of Mets and Braves in there, and hope just add a little more fun to it for me, right? Like I try to have fun with it. So,
but if you're not having fun playing, what's the point?
What's the point in doing
Enjoy it. We're not taking it too seriously. It's all good, guys. It's all good. We're having fun.
And again, this is what a card will look like. You'll see the different achievements that your players, need to hit for you to win. And it's as simple as that. I mean, it's, very, very easy to do. If you win, you'll have a card that'll light up yellow like this. 4 in a corner could be a way that you win. You could also win 5 in a row in all different directions. I've had some where I've won both, where I've won 5 in a row and 4 in the corner. So it just depends. Obviously, 4 in a corner is much easier, but it just depends on, which way you do it. So, and the payout will change depending on which way you win it as well, because of course the prize pool is split up in a way where, it values more if you get 5 in a row, of course, which makes more sense. But we want everyone to have an opportunity, so it's cool. See, the prize pool's already over 100. Here we are. So, what was it at before I just did that? I only bought 5.
It was at like 97, I think.
Oh, okay. All right.
97,
cool.
98. So,
all right. I thought some cards got in there while we were doing it. All right, cool. So that's done. So we got rival challenges done. We got bingo done. Let's see what best ball is doing right now. I haven't looked at this yet today, so I don't know if there's any 4 teams that are close. There is one 4 team that I haven't joined and you haven't joined, but that would put us at 3 teams. We could always drop it in the chat and give someone else a chance.
Wants to get in here.
Yeah, we'll give somebody a chance to join it. And then in the meantime, we could always also do a 2-person one. Let's see. I'll put it in the chat right now. Again, this is the value of being live with us. You can join those.
Absolutely.
If not, you just miss out on some extra fun. It's okay. Just miss out on some fun.
I mean, I don't love missing out on fun, but some people might. So that's okay. That's up to you.
That's up to you. That's up to you if you want to miss out on the fun. In the meantime, should we do it 2-person?
I think let's do it head to head, man. Let's do it.
What you want to do? How much?
$5 MLB. Yeah.
Let's do $5. Let's get crazy.
So there we go.
Let's get crazy. Now, any advice for those out there, Brian, in terms of their queue and how to handle that while you're waiting for your draft?
What I like to do is that the reason we have, roughly 5 minutes between fill and start is that way you can go check who's pitching today. You can check on the matchups you like, when do these games start? Things like that. So I like to go in because pitching is going to be the most fluctuating piece, right? And you're not going to see it reflected immediately in the rankings, right? So you do have to go digging for today's starting pitchers. So use this time to set up your queue to put a couple different guys in. Luckily for a daily, you only need 1 pitcher, so you get kind of the pick of the litter.
Right.
But it's good to do that and have backup plans. It goes quick, especially in a head-to-head. You're rocking. It's a very quick back and forth, especially if you're prepared. So just have a plan going in and then set your queue up to reflect that plan.
Exactly. And that's what I like to do, man. I like to fill it up with players who are going to start today. Again, even the pitchers, sometimes I'm just putting names in there. They're not necessarily, they're like, they could be last ditch efforts. It could be just, guys I want to have there in case in case you take who I want. I just try to put a bunch of names in there, especially like you said, pitchers are the most important to make sure that you don't want to miss them, man. You don't want to mess that spot up.
It's you also have a lot thankfully today we're not fighting any day games, but you usually know who the starter is going to be, barring any new injuries or something like that. So just find your preferred outlet that tells you the probable starters, things like that. Use that to your advantage. Try to capitalize on that with this time ahead of the draft. So
exactly, and you just want to be careful. Like you said, guys that are out will be there.
Yep.
And especially someone like Strider who's up there in the rankings. So if you're on auto draft, you might get auto draft for that player. So that's why it's important.
Changes are coming. We're optimizing optimizing. We're always evolving. We're always iterating on that. So you guys will start to see those things cycle out and new features come in to kind of help prevent that and circumvent those issues. But yeah, just keep an eye on it and stay vigilant, which is easier said than done.
Exactly.
And also, use this to go deeper into the rankings, right? Just because a guy was ranked highly to start the season does not necessarily mean that he is performing well right now. Julio Rodriguez is a great example. Over the course of the season, he's going to be fine, but like he's starting to find his stride finally, but was a slow start. So things to keep in mind as you're prepping as well.
Exactly. We have 1 minute and 32 seconds left, man. 1 minute and 30 seconds left. I feel like sometimes I feel like, I talked about Julio pitching today for the Mets. I feel like I should just put it in Brian's face and draft him and, stuff like that. Like these are the kind of things I toy with in my mind. Like, do I go with the obvious, pitcher or do I have fun? And like, it'd be even a better win for me if it's him that wins it with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I try to have fun with it, especially if I'm doing a lot of drafts, just because I like to have variance anyway. So it's like,
always limit your exposure. Don't overexpose to the same guys. I made that mistake in full season best ball, like a lot, and again, use this to like get off the beaten path a little bit. There are guys that are currently ranked in like the 150 range that are outperforming some of the guys at the top. So, just keep it like Spencer Steer right now. He's ranked 112 ranked, right? So going in, if you want to go find these guys that we've talked about on the show that are, the waiver wire gems, whatever the case is, you're going to have to go search for them a little bit, and that's okay.
Right.
So use the time wisely.
Exactly.
So we're going to get going here. So I'm probably going to surprise you guys with my first pick, and that's okay. I'm here to mess things up and be a little crazy.
Yeah, I want to be crazy here too, man.
So I'm going to go with Mookie at the top.
Okay.
Best player in baseball right now. I know he cooled off a little bit this weekend, but can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
So do I want to punish you? Do I want to take Alvarez? Do I want to take Garcia, the Houston Astro killer?
You can't really go wrong with either of them.
Do I want to take Acuna, who might destroy the Mets today? There's so many options.
Yeah, I feel like we're not talking about Ronald Acuna enough.
We're not.
I think we're
just because of this. It's because of this. You know what I mean?
We're just so used to him being good at baseball. And rightfully so. I think that's who you take. Oh, you're killing me, dude. Killing me. So I am going to begrudgingly take. I don't know if I can bring myself to do it.
Do it.
But yeah, I'm gonna take Adolis Garcia right now, and just hurt myself as I watch him play against the Astros. And then I'm gonna round out my infield, and I'm gonna take Ozzie Albies.
I'm gonna do my infield right now, back to back, and I'm going to. Man, I don't know if I want to target too many Mets, but I mean too many Braves. But like I was thinking about Olsen or Riley, but I think I'm gonna go.
That Mets fan just hovering. Oh, yep, there he is. There's a little Frankie.
I don't want to be all in the same game though. That's the thing. I might go Freeman just to stay out of the same game, or I could go Seager. I kind of like Seager today too.
Yes, and Seager's had a nice start to the season. Yeah. So
2 shortstops. I love shortstops. What can I tell you?
Look, when you're playing in points leagues where you get bonus or not bonuses, but you get rewarded for guys who can also run and steal. It's a nice thing to have. So, okay. So now we're kind of at that point where I'm going to start going off script a little. I'm going to grab my pitcher. I'm going to take and make sure that he's starting. So he still is, as far as I can tell. So I'm going to take Zach Eflin. They're going up against the Angels, so not a really scary lineup for Eflin to have to go up against. So now I need an outfielder and a utility player. So I'm going to get back into the Dodgers, and I'm going to take Teoscar Hernandez.
He's been doing good this year.
He's been doing very good. He's kind of one of those forgotten guys, but he's in a stacked lineup. He's batting 6. He has a lot of opportunity.
And it's crazy when you're doing these 2 people drafts, like the players that are left behind. You're like,
yeah,
you feel like you feel dirty.
Yeah, it is strange to leave Juan Soto and Julio Rodriguez on, essentially the waiver wire. But
yeah,
this is you're playing matchups in daily, right? That's what we're doing here. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Trust your gut. Trust your gut.
So what I'll do is I'll go with my boy McKenzie. That's my starting pitcher today.
I like that.
And then do I go Shohei just for the hell of it?
Just to say you did
just to get a home run off you. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So now I got to round it out with a utility player. This is where it gets a little dicey. But I think this is Juan Soto territory. So we're going to go Juan Soto. I know I'm taking lefty on lefty for my last pick. I get it. People will say that's not a good move, but it's Juan Soto, so he'll be fine.
Don't let them judge you, Brian.
So yeah, I'm projected because I went down a few, right? Like I went for Eflin, I went for Hernandez. So my projections are going to be a little bit lower. But that's okay. I'm looking at got a deficit to overcome against Neil, but I like my odds.
Get used to seeing
going
that,
down, dude.
Get used to that deficit. Get used to seeing a deficit when you play against me.
I start with the deficit and then somehow I win, and it's just crazy.
Okay.
When I come out with all these dubs.
Okay. So. Sure you do. Yeah. All right. I think that's it. I don't think the best ball one hasn't filled yet.
No.
3 out of 4.
Get in there, guys. If anybody wants to get in there, I will be drafting regardless.
Yeah, me too. I got a feeling as soon as we get off, that's gonna go.
Oh yeah. Somebody's just waiting for us to stop the stream.
They
don't want to be on. They don't want to be on TV.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's okay. You don't want to be famous. That's fine. You don't want to be famous. It's cool. It's cool. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. All right. So listen. Last week was fun. This week hopefully is even better. The solar eclipse is in our favor. It's a positive sign for us.
Hope so.
Listen, we've covered everything, guys. We will, of course, drop news throughout the week as it happens. Injuries, whatever comes up. Brian has articles to drop. Do you know when those are going to be coming?
You should be getting waiver wire and 2 start pitchers by this afternoon. Should be well ahead of I think we got a 5:10 first pitch for Chicago and Cleveland tonight, and that's the first game today. So they will be out before that, so you guys can get in your weekly drafts, get your 2 start pitchers. Start capitalizing on some of those challenges too.
Yeah, those 2 pitcher articles, I love those, man. Those can be clutch for me.
And hey, I'm keeping them concise. They're kind of listicles, so that way you guys can just digest it really quick. You see the matchups, kind of know what you're getting there. So I'm not going to get into WOBAs and XFIPs and all that. Like I like stats, but we're here to play fantasy. We're not trying to be sabermetrics type of people.
Right. You keep it simple for people like me. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Man, I can't even do that much math. It gets overloaded. You overload your brain after a while. So
yeah,
too many numbers, too much math. All
right. So that is it. Look out for Brian's articles. Look out for other episodes that we had this week. Make sure you subscribe to the show. If you're not subscribed, you're missing out on, if you turn your notifications on, you won't miss the live. You'll see it when we're on. You can participate in the games with us. It's a lot more fun that way. If not, it's all cool. The replay is going to be available either later today or tomorrow, so you'll be able to watch it then. Other than that, guys, that's it for me. I hope you enjoy the solar eclipse. Brian, don't look directly at the sun.
I will not promise that to you, Neil. I
don't
promise.
Listen, if you come back and you're blind next week, it's not good.
If I'm wearing the Cyclops visor, you guys know what happened. Hopefully I get superpowers from it. That's kind of what I'm hoping. That looking at the sun, you get some superpowers.
That'd be awesome. All right, that's it. You can find us on all the social platforms at Rival Fantasy. Subscribe to the channel, like this video. That's it. We'll see you guys on Rival Fantasy. Brian, listen, I hope you're not blind next week. That's all I can say.
I hope so too.
That's all I can say. We're out.